take the program forward.
Welcome everyone. On behalf of FPME, I would like to welcome Shri R.K.Mishra, IRS officer. Shri R.K.Mishra-Ji is additional DGFT at Mumbai from 1995 batch of Indian Revenue Services. He is also holding the charge of Director, Indian Institute of Packaging. For pharma industry, packaging is very important. So if any guidance regarding packaging is required, so sir can help anyone from the pharma industry for packaging industry. He was also holding the additional charge of Development Commissioner SIBS SEZ Mumbai from July 23 to May 24. He has worked as a mechanical engineer in Indian Railways before joining the Indian Revenue Services. He has a vast experience of more than 25 years of tax administration and investigation related to customs, GST and narcotic cases. He has worked as an Assistant Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner of Central Excise and Service Tax in Allahabad and Ghaziabad during 1998 to 2002. He has served for 3 tenures in DRI as Joint Director in DRI Headquarters, New Delhi, Joint Director Zonal Unit, Kolkata, and Additional Director Regional Unit, Jaipur. He was the first Secretary Economic in Embassy of India, Kathmandu, during 2009 to 2012. Before joining as Additional DGFT Mumbai in June 2002, he has served as a Commissioner of GST in Belapur from 2017-18 and Commissioner of Customs in Nhava Sheva at JNPT Port during the period 2018 to 2022. He has taken over the responsibility of Additional DGFT in June 2022. He has been confirmed the President of India's Appreciation Certificate for Extraordinary Devotion of Duty and Specially Distinguished Record of Services on the occasion of Republic Day 2013. He has received a Certificate of Merit by the World Customs Organizations for rendering exceptional service to the international custom community. Welcome, sir. Welcome. We are always pleasure to hear you every time. We met during Pharmexil also, and your word of wisdom has guided our exporters community in true sense. I would like to invite Kamlesh Bhai and to welcome with the sapling of the Tulsi. Today is Ashadi Ekadashi. On behalf of that, this is the self-watering Tulsi instead of ये दीजिए ना बाद में वो पैक दे देंगे उनको हाँ तो दिखने में अच्छा लगेगा It is a self-watering tea plant only requires once a week tea replacement water replacement. Yeah. I would like to invite Niren Bhai to welcome Mihir. Mihir is our FPME advisor and foreign trade policy advisory in relation to foreign trade policy, GST, FEMA, RBI, customs, and other allied subjects related to exports and import businesses. As a trainer, he provides training in the field of international business, covering various topics from basic setup, marketing, government incentives, international trade agreement, and GST for foreign trade. He is also ICC Incoterms 2020 registered trainer in India. Mihir is FPME right from its inception. He has always guided our member in true sense, right from the initial hiccups of GST till what we are facing right now, some hiccups in getting the refunds and everything. Mihir is always with FPME member. So let's start with Mihir, handing over Mihir to start his presentation and training.
Good evening, everyone. Shri R.K.Mishra Sir, Additional DGFT Mumbai, Kamlesh Bhai, President FPME, Abhay Bhai, Sandeep Bhai, pharmaceutical exporters, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I do not have any other excuse, but let me take it on me because I've been told in my family that I'm responsible. So I had messaged Sandeep Bhai that I am in Navi Mumbai and I will take about 20 minutes more to reach than the scheduled time. So whatever is delay is to be blamed to me. I am responsible. All right. So trust me, for all of you who came on time, thank you so much. But considering the standard excuse, traffic and the road and all others, it's something which I have to be blamed for. But thank you so much for joining in today. We'll make sure that whatever time you have devoted here will be of immense helpful to you. I would not take much of your time because we have Mishra sir here and no better person to get all the insights related to export and import when the additional himself is here. And thank you so much, sir. This being a public holiday, you've been kind enough to grace this event. Thank you so very much. Guys, a round of applause for Mishra sir to take time out on a legitimate holiday. And I'm sure that equally is required for him. But thank you so much, sir. Friends, we are here for a very specific topic, and I'll quickly run through this because it seems to be something which is bothering a lot of our members at the association. Sandeep Bhai, Kamlesh Bhai, and everyone has kept on getting inquiries and queries regarding that. What's the kind of a process? First and foremost, let me tell you, this is the situation where we say in management, na 80-20 rule. So this is exactly what it is, that people assume the 80% of the problem, which is the goods. This is manufactured, buyer aa gaya, everything is done and export has happened. But they forget that 20%, which is documentation. And most importantly, making sure that you receive the payment, and not only you receive the payment, you close it properly in the documentation. So that 20% is this documentation in which an electronic bank realization certificate, eBRC, is something which is very, very important. Many exporters, and I know all of you most likely are merchant exporters. So your survival on many occasions is on those drawbacks and incentives, and making sure that you get it correctly is very, very important to have a document called eBRC. The current upgraded system which is there, and let me just take back a little backward, maybe Mishra sir will get some more insights on that, but originally eBRC was a manual document. An exporter used to prepare in multiple copies, first half to be filled by you and then the balance to be certified by a bank. And trust me that those days where we were doing manual BRCs, they were really, really long challenges and a lot of efforts. We then moved to a system where banks used to upload it directly on the DGFT system. But I'm sure many of you exporters will have that you have a backlog of your eBRCs. Payment has been received. Everything is been done. Paisa aa chuka hai sir, par BRC bank says 2-3 mahina to lagega. And that too is very casual about it. It's very okay. And most importantly, there's a cost attached to that. Let me take this opportunity and tell that DGFT, especially Ministry of Commerce and DGFT, especially when moved to this new platform and moved to digital medium, has done fantastically well by creating various options. In fact, I think almost today 90-95% or maybe even 100%, we are online on the DGFT platform and the Ministry of Commerce side of the export and import. And it's much more user-friendly than, let me say, the others. And to add that, we have added now the eBRC module in the same system, whereby now you don't have to be dependent on the exporter. It is by the bank, it is the exporter himself who will be able to take cognizance and generate eBRC by themselves. All right. Before I jump into it, how many of you have tried generating eBRCs in this new module? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Only 8 people. Balance of you are really the crowd today, which we are entertaining. Abhay, if there is something which is there, we will discuss separately. He knows it. He is aware of it. But so this is one more challenge. The rest of you who have not done it is because you have an apprehension. Kya hai ye? Nahi samajhta. Not that you don't want to do it. So this is an aim today that to give you a clarity of that it is in fact in a simpler and a much easier manner that you could generate your eBRC, generate your document whereby you could since effectively at least. This module had started on a trial basis in November of 15th, effectively of 1st February, that is 31st of January, all banks had to come on board. And from 1st February, any payment which you receive for exports after 1st of February 2024, it will be processed by you and you will generate eBRCs. Please be clear. The cutoff date is 1st February for your payment, not for your export. So you might have exported it in last year, you might have exported in January, but if the payment is after 120 days or after 4 months, now you will receive the payment and then you will generate your eBRCs. As on current list, 55 banks are on board of this platform. And I believe 55, when I see the list, almost all your nationalized and private banks are there, except very rare few. If some banks is not there, then obviously they will still continue. But what I understand from the team at eBRC is that if the bank is not there, please tell them why they are not there. They should be there because there's a cutoff for them also to onboard. There's a detailed trade notice and guideline given, but the problem is, as I could see the hands, however, nobody is trying it. So our effort today is to give you a more clarity of how that trade notice, how that process is in a slightly simpler manner, in a manner which you probably can understand, so that when we go back tomorrow to office, you start generating it and your compliances are completed. You require 4 things before you start generating eBRC. And please note this is important, because if you start generating eBRCs and if you don't have this, then you will get stuck and that will be a query. The first one is access on the DGFT platform. That means we have a standard single platform, dgft.gov.in. And I'm assuming all of you have it because you have your IC, you have your advanced authorizations, you have your other schemes which you are applying for. So most of you would have updated your IC in this first quarter, assuming so, which means you all have your access, the same access. Don't create a new access, the same access, but you require it. For any reason you don't have it or you're not using the login ID password, then obviously you'll have to generate it, but you need it. Second, since you will generate your eBRCs, you will have to submit that. So you will require a digital signature or a proprietor, partner, directors, Aadhaar, which will be there. So a verification mode, which is similar to any application which you have done on DGFT website, including RCMC, including your IC. So it's nothing different, but you need that. This is your requirement to file the application. Now to generate eBRCs, you need 2 more information. And I mind you, information, these are all available. The third information which you will require is your payment. So obviously the BRCs can only be generated when you have a payment. So your inward payment, which comes to your bank, it will come in 2 forms. Either it will come as advance or it will come as payment against exports, right? In both these instances, banks will generate what is called as IRM, inward remittance message number, IRM. So that IRM number is what you need from your bank. In most likely cases, the bank would have sent you either through an automated email system or you have it. And we'll tell you how you can find it also. And lastly, which is also very obvious, that just receiving the payment is not going to help you, because if you receive an advance, that's fine, but you cannot get an eBRC generated unless and until you have an export done. That means you require a shipping bill. And all of you, I believe you are registered on the IceGate, and hence you get your your shipping bill copies on your email. So the shipping bill copy, and I'll tell you copy is required because there's some reason for it. So not just the number, but preferably the copy is what you require. These are these 4 ingredients which you need to start if you want your eBRCs to be generated. And trust me, if you have this, it is a matter of just few minutes to generate an eBRC, just few minutes. But the problem is you don't have this and then you complain, "Arey 5 din lag gaya." हाँ, 5 दिन में 4 दिन आपका CHA ने BRC shipping bill देने में लगाया. So please don't blame it to the system. It's not the system which is a problem. So once you have this, you are able to generate eBRCs. Now, how can I generate eBRC? There are very simple process. But before we jumping on it, what kind of eBRCs can you generate? Very simple. Let's assume you have a payment of $10,000. So your IRM is of $10,000. You have a shipment of $10,000. You will generate an eBRC of $10,000. Simple, straightforward. One IRM, one shipping bill, one eBRC. No problem. Very simple case. Second scenario. I have an IRM of 10,000. That means a buyer has given me some lump sum advance of 10,000. And through a couple of months, I have done 3 shipments. Shipping bill number 1 of 5,000, shipping bill number 2 of 3,000, shipping bill number 3 of 2,000. I can use the same IRM, use out of 10,000, 5,000 for shipping bill number 1, generate eBRC number 1. Use for shipping bill number 2, generate eBRC 2, and use for shipping bill number 3, generate eBRC 3. So inward IRM is a lump sum amount. I can proportionate it based on my as an exporter's requirement in 3 different eBRCs or 3 different shipping bills. Fine. And the third scenario, that I have received some payment, maybe advance, maybe export, say $7,000. That is one IRM. Plus I have received another $5,000. So buyer has sent me 2 IRMs. 7,000 maybe advance. Then I've done the shipment. Then he has sent me 5,000. But my shipping bill is only of $10,000. So 7,000 I will use from the first IRM. 3,000 I will use for the second IRM. File my shipping bill, file my eBRC for $10,000. The balance 5,000 IRM में से 2,000 balance है. I will use it for the next shipment. I can use 2 IRMs, 1 shipping bill, 1 eBRC. एक option आपके पास है. This is how the system has been able to give you this flexibility. Somebody tells me, sir, but you know what, 7,000 advance hai. Can I generate an eBRC of 7,000 when the shipping bill has been filed and then generate a balance for another 2? Yes, you can. Choice आपके पास है. So in this transaction, I could even generate 2 eBRCs if I want to. Okay. What you cannot do, you cannot generate a eBRC without a shipping bill. Obviously. Correct? Second, you cannot have multiple shipping bills in one eBRC. Go back to this. We have 3 shipping bills. We had 1 IRM. I have to generate 3 BRCs. One eBRC cannot have all the 3 shipping bills. No, that's not possible. So I have to have 1 shipping bill. I can have multiple eBRCs. I can have part. I can have 10,000, may say 3,000, 3,000, 1,000, whatever I want. 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Right? So that's the difference I can. So all options are available with the exporter. You can select and choose. Now, where will you do all of these? Once we understand the structure, this is possible. Where will you do all of this? Simple. Log on to dgft.gov.in. That's the platform.
Huh?
That's the platform.
चालू आहे
BRC करून झाल्या.
अच्छा.
ज्यांचं पेंडिंग आहे
Are you able
त्याच्यावर
to? Are the Zoom caller able to hear us? Or what's the problem? Okay.
केलं आहे BRC.
लाईफ सायन्सेसचं कोण करतंय? कोण करतंय BRC?
Okay, team on the Zoom, if you can listen to us, we'll request you to mute. We will allow you to ask questions when we go for a question answers. Otherwise, we get distracted. Is that okay? Hope so. So we go to this DGFT platform where there's an option called eBRCs. And as you can see, you have IRM repository. That's where your all IRM will be there from the bank. We will have the generate eBRC option, which is what you're going to be using. And then some other facilities of viewing the existing IRMs or others. Now, out of the 4 ingredients which I said in the beginning that you should have, one was IRM. So bank se IRM ka detail chahiye, right? But it is as difficult as asking your wife, do you want to go for shopping? Huh? So try mat karna. Because bank se IRM nikalna kabhi-kabhi बहुत difficult hai, right? And the problem is they'll give you 90% information. वो नहीं देंगे. That's a standard code which X easy E00, something is there, which they will give you only the part of it. Don't worry. We have taken care of that, or department has taken care of that. You have this module called IRM repository, which is where the banks are responsible to upload it. So whether you have IRM or not, but if you have some part information or you have the payment details, you just click on that, go to the module. Now, very simple. Either you select your bank and select the period. Now, please understand, there is this fantastic feature. You can select period from 1st of February till date. There is no limitation. I have modules where you have limitation of 7 days because data is zyada hai. Here you don't have a problem. So from 1st February, by the way, payment received on before 1st of February will not come here because that has to be done from the bank side. So 1st of February till 17th of July, if you select, all IRMs will be reflected in it. Something like this will you see on the system. You will see something which is list. Now, what will happen? Of course, I have masked some information being proprietary of somebody. IRM numbers, their dates, your IC number, your firm name, why it is come, whether it is an advance or whether it is against exports, the amount. Is the IRM already used in some eBRC? That detail. And is there some return? So you have an ORM against it. All this information is there. Now, this is a repository, meaning yes, if a ledger hai, what you are supposed to do is capture the IRM for which you want to make the BRC. So get the IRM number, copy, paste it, write it in a piece of paper or something, whatever you want. And then we go to the module called generate eBRC. That's where we want to go. So you generate eBRC, and if you will see, there are actually 3 steps. First step is auto-populated. Second step is what you're going to do. Third step is sign and signature. यानी कितना काम करना है अपने को? सिर्फ एक ही काम. Because first step is the automated. Right? Still we feel it difficult. That's the challenge. Right? So what you're going to do, you're going to go to the first step where it talks about IRM, and it tells you what? It asks you some basic questions. Is the payment by a third party or is it by you? In the recent RBI amendment where you get Zoom, then you'll have to share this slide. Okay. And the second one option is SRVA. What is SRVA? Special Rupee Vostro account. Okay. In 2021, RBI has allowed foreign banks to open a special Rupee Vostro account. If you are getting payment in INR from your foreign buyer, please ask and please confirm, is it coming from an SRVA, special Rupee Vostro account? Just don't go by the word, yes, we can submit, we can do everything. Please do not believe the WhatsApp university which says, abhi UPI sab jagah chalu ho gaya hai, to buyer can make payment in INR. No, nothing of that sort. Follow legitimate process. If the payment is coming in INR, it has to come through a mechanism called special Rupee Vostro account. Only then we are able to going to be knocking it off for exports and others. Otherwise, it's not going to make any sense. Your compliance will not get completed. Okay. Now, by the time this gets, can I? इसका क्या हुआ? Projector को? ये तो screen तो इन्होंने रखा है. आप switch करो ना इसको. Video क्यों आ रहा है? Video को switch करके PPT चालू कर. Correct. That's it. Thank you. So these 3 questions by default are already answered for you. It is not a third party payment. You don't have to select whether it is a Vostro or special rupee because the payment is coming in foreign exchange. It is for goods. We are assuming this is for goods because if it is for services or deemed export, you will select it. So ye 3 cheez by default is already for you. Don't need to do anything. What you are going to do is you are going to pull the IRM. Abhi IRM kahan pe hai? Cut, copy, paste kar ke rakha hai na humne. So now we will paste it here. And the moment you paste the IRM, it will show the details of IRM. So out of that list, I pulled out IRMs. And let's say I pulled up 2 IRMs. If you see in the first half, there's this IRM ending with 947 and it had some money, but you know what happened? This IRM was already used. Yeah, IRM ka already eBRC, my colleague somebody has prepared it. So it does says you have no balance left. It cannot be generated for eBRC. So if you make mistake, it will not allow you to make mistakes. I have a second IRM, right? Which is ending with 358 and it has some money called $787 and it says, is there eBRC made? No, I can use it. So I will click on add IRM. That means I'm saying, yeah, IRM, ye BRC banane ke liye use karo. And the moment I add it, it will get added into the eBRC module. What I can do? I've added 787. I can add another 1,000. I can add another 1,000. Jitne IRM add karne, I can keep on adding based on my shipping bill. So I can add 1 IRM. I can have multiple IRMs, whatever the payment is. I've added 1 IRM. So my payment is received in IRM. I've added IRM. My IRM work is over. 1 IRM only I've added here. Then what do? You go to the next step. And this is the only step you actually are doing, is adding the shipping bill detail. Your IC code, your company name, your address, everything is pre-filled. IRM details is pre-filled. Now what you're doing, you have to map it with the shipping bill. So you are going to put in few specific details of the shipping bill. Now please understand this. Unlike in other schemes where shipping bill is linked with IceGate and the shipping bill comes from the customs and only when it comes in the DGFT platform, you are able to use it. Here, it is not linked with IceGate. You are manually supposed to type in, which means you don't have to figure it out whether it is there in the repository or not. You manually type in, eBRC will be generated for you. Which also means you have to be double careful of making any errors. What is the AD code on the shipping bill? What is the shipping bill number? What is the date? What is the currency? What is the value? You mention all of that details. Most importantly, an identifier which is used is the invoice number, because that's going to be your bill ID in the eBRC. Recently, DGFT has added this module in the module, 2 more informations. One is the address and the GST number. I was speaking, sir, on the web conference with the team at headquarters. They said they had issue with, because GST used to have a query saying that the address is of a different branch, whereas you are taking some refunds in the different branch. So now, as an exporter, you have an option. So let's assume most of us are based out of Maharashtra, but let's assume you had a branch in Gujarat and you exported with the shipping bill address of Gujarat. Now, GST would somewhat say your eBRC should also say Gujarat address with Gujarat GST number. Now, by default, for all these years, we were always getting it at a registered office and there was never been a problem. But now if you have an option, you want it, you have an option in the drop down, all your IC addresses with all the GST, you have it, you can select it. So now I can generate eBRC, which will show the address of Gujarat, Gujarat GST number, and I will have it. So my GST department will not question me in my refunds or any other questions. Because remember, IC is one only. Pan India, we have only one IC. So IC is never a problem. But if this creates a challenge, we now have this facility available where you could, if you have no other branch or you have only same GST number and you want it on your registered office address only, then you don't need to look at that option. That option is almost non-existent for you, because by default, it will be your registered office address. By default, it will be your registered office GST number. So whatever is there in your IC, you fill this information. Along with that, we have a small table which you need to fill up. And that's, I think, sometimes creating a problem. And what is that table? It asks you for some additional information. Information not related only to your IRM, but information related to your transaction. So what are those information? Is there a commission on the shipping bill? Are you paying an agency commission? Is there an insurance? Is there a freight? Is there some other charges which you have? Why? So that to make a realization that what is your net realized minusing your insurance and freight amount. So we have two tables. One where you have a transaction, let's say, which is CIF. So obviously you realize $10,000, you minus insurance, minus freight, which becomes our FOB, and that's your net realized. You might have a commission, but which is within the scope. You want to show the commission as an information. So you have two tables, one where the deduction will happen, and in one where deduction will not happen. So I'll show you this. If you see this example, first of all, there's this eBRC. You are mentioning about the address and the GST number, it comes there. This is how your eBRC looks. So you can click on the preview button before you even print. Focus on column number 11, 12, and 13. 11 says 78.7. Ignore the point, ignore the decimal, assuming 787. 787 was the original value which came. Then commission, discount, insurance, freight, other is 00000. So the 13, which is net realized, remains 787. Obviously, 787 minus 0 is 787. Now in this example, I have added $100 as commission, not as deduction, only as an information on the right hand side. Right? I've added $100 as discount, $10 as insurance, $50 as freight, and $40 again as an information for other deduction. Now see this, $140 is only as information that I have some deductions, whereas $160 is the actual minus which should happen. And when this goes into the eBRC, you will see commission still shows 0. Look at column number 12. Commission still shows 0, but discount 100, insurance 10, freight 50, other 0. So $160, which I have mentioned it to be deducted, is deducted. And if you see the figure, of course, this is a larger figure, but if you see there's a difference of from 787, there's some deduction, and you got 785 as the final value. So your insurance and freight has to be recorded in this manner, and you will be able to get the net realized value on the eBRCs for your reference. Once you have done this, you have seen the BRC, it is all correct, examined, you could simply go to the last step, sign and submit like you do for all other applications, either via digital signature or via Aadhaar OTP, and that's it. Automatically, instantaneously, auto-approved eBRC will be generated, and you can download it from the repository. You will have an eBRC number. If you see carefully, at this place, there is a number called NA. Why? Because this is a preview. The moment you submit it, it will have a number, depending upon what bank you are banking with. So let's say I'm banking with Kotak, it will say KKBK something. Some reference number will be generated. That number you go and go back to your main module, and you have an option says view BRCs, view your eBRCs, go paste your eBRC number and download the copy. You have it always available in the system. You have available it in your hard disk. You have it available on your drive as well. So eBRC is generated and your shipping bill is sorted as far as compliance is concerned. It's as simple as you can explain. Before I say thank you and allow Sandeep Bhai to come back again, very important aspect which I want to draw your attention, and a yellow line which has been marked, which is most confusing for most of you. Please note, eBRC generation on the DGFT platform is a compliance part 1 of your compliance of exports, which means one of the part of compliance is eBRC. However, the compliance with RBI, which is making sure that you have realized the money correctly, which is making sure that it is realized in a timely manner, It is compliance which requires you to submit documents within 21 days or route the document through the bank or make sure that the payment is correctly recorded. Or for exporters who receive some $50, $20, $30 less as foreign bank charges. All of these compliance which will knock off your EDPMS, that's your RBI, still remains out of the genre of eBRC. You will still have to continue with your banks. You are not skipping any compliance. Please understand this. Don't assume mera eBRC aa gaya, my work is over. Just because you have received an advance payment, just because you have got your shipping bill, doesn't mean that you don't have to submit your documents to the bank. You still have to. RBI compliance is nowhere compromised or nowhere said to be cancelled or removed with this system. The only disadvantage which you had earlier, that you had to wait for the bankers to generate eBRC, is been removed. Only disadvantage where you have to pay for every eBRC generated by the bank of rupees 1,000 to 5,000 or whatever it is, that has been removed by this facility. There is no mitigation of compliance. So please don't assume things that, okay, my eBRC is over, that means my compliance is over. No. If you are not receiving short payment, supposed to pay back your drawback with interest, it still remains as it is. There is no way out. That compliance doesn't go away. So whether it is 21 days of submission of documents or whether you are submitting documents directly to your buyer and RBI says are you a status holder? No, then you cannot do it. Have you received advance payment? No, then you cannot do it. Then you will still have to comply with the RBI FEMA guidelines. There is no deviation from that. What is available to you in this module is a very simple, easy facility where your compliance, which was getting pendency, 3 mahina, 4 mahina, 6 mahina, which was not able to be closed and it was at a cost, is been now done away and it is available at a zero cost, sitting in your offices, maybe even on this holiday, and getting your eBRCs generated. All right. So please do not mitigate these compliance processes, but use this as a tool for you to take this advantage of the eBRC system. All right, guys. Thank you so very much. I appreciate your patient hearing, and I'll invite Sandeep Bhai again for his further comments. Thank you so much, guys. Let me take question.
Yes, thank you very much, Mihir Bhai. As always, you are there, and any members after question and answers, you can always connect Mihir Bhai. Before we start question and answers, I would like to invite to all our members. Please, R.K.Mishra-Addl, please.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here. It's a holiday, but whatever duty demands, one has to discharge. So when the organizers came and said it is 17th, I smiled to myself and said, okay, I'll come. So once again, acting with the exporters trade fraternity, I'm very happy being here. आप लोगों को Hindi, English, what do you prefer? Okay. तो मैं यहाँ के बहुत से Mr. explained the new initiative by DGFT to ameliorate the problems faced by the trading exporting community for RC. It has been captured to a very correct extent. This process of DGFT was with the thought process that banks, one is their manpower is involved in generating this eBRC, the process. The exporter was required to submit some paper documents and other things, and it created some delay. And there was some cost also. So manpower cost and the financial cost and everything, and especially for the small exporters, not small exporters who who export lower quantities and asking for and receiving the lower remittances, lower amount of remittances, and the e-commerce exports, where the number of transactions are very large and still the compliance remains the same. Those were the areas because the larger corporations have the wherewithal to handle such matters. but for a exporter who has a smaller turnover, to have a dedicated manpower or human resource for this work only. So this was flagged by the exporters, especially the MSME, and looking at the potential of e-commerce, where India is at around $5 billion, China is at $300 billion of e-commerce export. So there's a large, vast potential which is there. And in DGFT, we must have seen in the Foreign Trade Policy 2023, we had a new chapter on the e-commerce. DGFT Bombay organized one seminar conclave on e-commerce exports recently in the ICI and BKC. So looking at the potential of e-commerce, one has to be aware of what exactly is the path forward. As an exporter, if you are aware of the changing business opportunities, like Africa coming up in a major way with the population growth there, with the demands increasing in Africa, if as an exporter you are aware of where the opportunities would lie, although the US and Europe remains a major market as far as the pharmaceutical exports are concerned. But even in that sense, you need to be aware what exactly is the rising opportunity. And in my address, I would be trying to highlight that this advanced authorization and EPCG scheme, which are the flagship programs of the DGFT. How many of you are using the advanced authorizations? If you can raise your hands if you are exporters. Advanced authorization used by 2, 3, 4 people. So I would. I see. So उनके जो supplier हैं, they can be using advanced authorization materials. So that gives you an advantage of saving custom duty payment cost at the time of importation. Even if you're a merchant exporter, you can tie up with a person who is a manufacturer who can import goods, raw materials, custom duty free. So I would advise IMC, FPME that to educate their constituents about the opportunities available as far as duty-free imports of raw material is concerned. If you are importing raw material, and if you can save cost on custom duty payment at the time of importation of raw material, that will help you in negotiating a better rate as far as your transaction with the manufacturer exporter is concerned. In the end, if you have a better margin, you can maybe give a better rate to the buyer in a foreign country and increase the market share of Indian goods which are being exported, which will be in the interest of our economy as well. Those who have heard my speech, I remain and retain the same values because the truth does not change ever. So if India has to really grow, and India has to grow, there's no if about it. In that situation, the pillar of export has to be taken forward for increasing the opportunities of employment, which is essential for the youth, which is in large number. You would see that the issue of unemployment or underemployment is a major issue in our country. And if we have to tackle this situation, then domestic consumption is definitely a limb of economic growth, but there is a limit to domestic consumption. And foreign markets, if we are able to capture in a more meaningful manner, our exports around 2% of the global market, that does not do justice to a population which is 16%, 17% of the global population. We are the largest country population-wise, and area-wise also we are sufficiently large. So the issue is whether we can leverage the potential that is a human resource available and create more opportunities, even in a niche area. Even if one medicine that you are manufacturing, I'm imagining, since you are mentioning pharma again and again, I'm imagining a lot of pharma exporters would be there. That medicine can be used with a good manufacturing practice, which is a requirement now, and you do not fail on quality and you do not fail on timeline, then the reputation of your company and your exports, your capacity, as well as the reputation of our country as an exporting country improves. In 1978, when China opened up, at that point of time, nobody imagined that in the next 30 years, China will become the manufacturing powerhouse of the world. Almost all advanced countries import a lot of manufactured goods from China. So how did it happen? It happened because the manpower was ready and the government policies and the kind of infrastructure that was created. We are on that same path. Our growth is around 8% this year. and when the global economy is growing at around 2.3%. So we are outpacing others, but we have a large margin to catch, and that margin can be caught up with only with the help of all of us. The government can only make a policy. The policy has to be used by people who are on the ground. And if you use those policies, like I mentioned about advance authorization, because in DGFT we handle that scheme, and the EPCG, where you import capital goods at a reduced or zero custom duty and manufacture goods out of that capital goods machinery and export goods. So that saves you, that gives you some financial leverage, which is useful for any manufacturer. The financial planning has to take care of that situation. I'm also director of Indian Institute of Packaging, and in that capacity, I would like you to understand that the government, when it was creating IIMs and IIT at the same time in 1966 to be precise, the government created, along with packaging industry, it's a private partnership in 1960s, much ahead of times, an institute called IIP in Mumbai, in Andheri. I'm director of that institute at the additional charge, a joint secretary level officer in Mumbai. It is a Commerce Ministry administered institute, and that institute trains the packaging professionals, packaging technologists, and undertakes the testing and R&D and consultancy work. It's an autonomous body. It's a self-financing thing, and this institute's courses are open right now. So people who are listening to me right now, even on the Zoom call, if they are listening, I will inform you that the forms can be filled for our postgraduate diploma in packaging course, which is open to all science graduates and all engineers in the country. And there is good job opportunity. If you know some people who can apply for this course in Bombay, in Mumbai, Ahmedabad, and Calcutta, I'll be very happy if they get educated by us in IIP and become packaging technologists. So I would share with one of you the flyer, and I've given an interview to Doordarshan also to popularize the scheme. I see that interview has not been seen by you, by the faces you are, by the faces that I observe right now. So I take this opportunity to inform you about that, and I hope that some message will go to the people, because the way forward for the country is skilling. Merely getting a graduation degree in science or engineering does not make you eminently employable. You means I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the students. You are surely eminently employable, therefore you're here. The point is, if we do not fill the skill gap, we'll remain where we were. And with the growing population, our population will grow till 2060, when we'll become the most populous country. Instead of 145 crore as of now, that will be a day when, if we are not skilled, we'll be falling below African countries or maybe some Asian countries also. That is not a future that we want to see. I hope to live in that till that time and see India as a developed country, as our policymakers are imagining right now. So my pitch for IIP is over, and as additional DGFT, I must inform you that DGFT, as mentioned in the speech by Mr. Mihir, is totally online. Therefore, I have displayed one notice in my office that you're not required to visit my office. We are available on a video conference every day from 10:30 to 11:30. And on the video conference, we try to take care of the issues. And since all the processes are online, there is no point in the exporter or his or her manpower visiting the government offices, because your job is to do business and not to tackle the government offices. The processes are online. We are a unique body where nobody is required to visit our office except for some old files which are in the process. Hopefully this financial year, this calendar year, some will make major progress in that regard. There is a special drive for the EODC, those who have exported, but since there are only 1 or 2 advance authorization, I'm informing them only. The export obligation discharge certificate which are pending, we are doing a massive special drive in the month of July and August, so that all those matters are taken care of. Those who have availed of amnesty, if you have availed of amnesty scheme recently, which has concluded, if any pendency is there, you can write an email to my office. I will leave one of the cards. The organizers can share that email ID with everybody. So this was my speech on the DGFT. I would advise you to use the schemes because they are very useful. Therefore, the schemes are working. And about the interaction with customs, our documents move to The customs document moved to DGFT now seamlessly, and similarly the authorizations are moving on. Advanced authorization, EPC, etc., are moving on to the custom database seamlessly. So those days of going to the office and registering your things by a manual process, those days are over. Even the bank guarantee process online is not still functional, but there is a major thought going on for making the bank guarantees also an online process. And lastly, I must inform you that RBI, DGFT, and some other stakeholders like authorized dealers, AD banks, they are in the process of coming out with a process where only one platform will be there, where all the information related to exports, remittances, GST, and others will be coming up. So I'm not doing anything. It does not require a clap. It's a thought process in the it's a thought process in the government that the process of ease of doing business needs to be given a fillip as concerned. It is compliance. Compliance is an environment which imposes on you some responsibility. So if we take it as a burden, we suffer, mentally. But if we take it as a responsibility to fulfill our responsibility, that will be the right spirit in which we need to work. And therefore, this talk about EDPMS being a separate process, you must understand, just generating eBRC in a useful or safe and comfortable manner is an important process. But then EDPMS is a separate thing which has to be dealt with by the exporter. And therefore, when this single platform comes, your compliance requirements will reduce to that extent. So I have spoken for 9 minutes now. I didn't think that I'll speak for 9 minutes here, because I was told that I have only come here as a person who will answer to the questions. It's a very difficult task, to answer the questions. But still, before you ask me questions on customs, I would request the organizers to arrange those answers on those questions. And I may send to I am a customs officer, but without authority of customs administration, I would not like to answer something which leads you on a garden path. So this is my address to you. I hope that you have got some takeaways about advanced authorization, EPCG. Always summarize whatever I've spoken so that you don't forget. I've talked to you about IIP and the PGDP codes being open. I'll share the flyer with the organizers who can share again with all the constituents. And I would look forward to any of suggestions for us to improve the working. And lastly, I must request you to take help of the Export Promotion Council, which is a government regulated body which has been created with you must read the mandate of the EPC, which is available on the internet. There are mandates which talk about buyer meet, reverse buyer seller meet, and so on. They are supposed to do so many things. I would advise you should be aware. You should be knowing about what is the mechanism, why an organization is created, so that you don't become like asking something out of benevolence of the other person. Whatever is your right, you must exercise it. If a body has been created for a purpose, that body must execute that purpose. And they are not doing any favor to you. They are just doing their job. This is my advice to you, because knowledge is power. If you have read the law, nobody can take you for a ride. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your guidance. Your suggestions well noted, and we will take this for all the advanced authorization to sensitize our member. We will have a separate program. As well as for IIP, it's a very important thing, because all merchant exporters get their products manufactured at third manufacturing site. So when they do this, they have their own packaging team also. So many of the merchant exporters can take this as an advantage when, as the sir has announced, that there are PG diploma courses available and admission is open. Our members can enroll their packaging, expert for this course and have this benefit on this. I would like to welcome Mr. Kanodia, who is retired Commissioner of GST. I would like to, and Dharmesh bhai, please welcome Mr. Kanodia. Today he's here. Yeah, with the sapling. Yeah.
ये तो हमारा था. ये सैपलिंग तो हमारा था.
बॉक्स में ये फोटोग्राफ वाला सैपलिंग आपके लिए बॉक्स में रेडी रखें.
I was just observing.
So moving on to now, question and answer sessions. The questions are ready with us. Yeah, so ready questions will be answered. Meanwhile, any participants, if you have any questions with DG sir as well as Mihir bhai, you are open to ask. Forum is open for question and answers.
Can we edit an eBRC?
So
That's a bad idea. No, go ahead.
yeah, that's actually what sir said. It's a bad idea. But well, answer to your question is,
Yes.
you can't edit it. You can cancel the BRC from 30 days from the time you have issued it.
But generate a eBRC correctly without error. And as I said, it's a bad idea because why do you want to create a complication? If some error has happened, you can always cancel it and generate it afresh.
You have 30 days to cancel that. So once you generate the eBRC, that is live up to 30 days. So within that 30 days, you can cancel and regenerate with the correct information.
The invoice is made in INR. Remittance is in USD. So we have some excess INR coming to our account or some short INR coming to our account due to the difference of the rate.
Okay.
So how do we tally that thing?
Sir, so the
The invoice
conversion.
is made for 1 lakh rupees.
Okay.
I'm getting an USD of around, when I convert it, it comes to 1,10,000.
So first of all, you don't have to convert it.
Then
eBRC
I'm getting USD.
eBRC will be generated in the currency of IRM. So if your currency of IRM is dollars, you will get eBRC in dollars. The conversion which you are referring to is again a context of EDPMS. Please understand this.
Okay,
See, your context of question is, have I fulfilled my export obligation?
fine.
Now that question will be answered in EDPMS because let's assume $5,000 amount or is 50,000 equivalent to it, or whether there is a shortfall of it. That is EDPMS problem.
And then the bank steps
So,
in. Then the
yeah.
So
bank
nothing to
will
do with EBRC.
eBRC, you can only,
So
yes, sir.
whatever import remittance message is there, that will be linked to the shipping bill and you will generate an eBRC. As I mentioned to you, eBRC is a document which will be helpful to you for the EDPMS related work. Finally, we'll look at whatever short excess is there and they have the wherewithal to accept it in legitimate cases. This is how I see it. Earlier, the limit was very low. Even for discounts, it was only 25% limit was there, which has again been removed for the e-commerce ones. So the banks are aware that some fluctuation will be there and you will have to take it up with the AD bank, and EDPMS is a forum at which the platform at which this will be regularized in that sense.
Since we are on this topic, just a quick information. RBI has floated draft revised guidelines for exports, guidelines under FEMA regulations. So master directions which are currently there, we have a draft revision provided on the RBI website. So as an exporter, if you wish to look at it, that in near future, what are the revised FEMA guidelines which are going to come for exports, please have a look at it because there are some changes which are may going to help you as an exporter, some may which you may not like it. So please have a look at that draft guidelines for the future. Hopefully by next calendar year, we should have it live. But I am not concerned with the currency or shortfall because that is EDPMS. eBRC will be generated in the currency of IRM. Sir, please.
Just the way IRM is corrected currently from different banks.
Yes, sir.
It will be corrected from SDA country. Why the manual process of putting in the shipping bill?
Because the exporter is aware of the shipping bill. The shipping bill is unique to you and you are the one who will be, you are asking about a physical copy being deposited? No?
The source data, which is currently reflecting in my, once I log in DGFT,
in your
in my
IEC.
DGFT side,
Yeah.
also, just the way I am able to see, say, there could be 10 remittances coming in 2 different banks.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am able to see all those. So why can't I see all the shipping bills also reflected, okay, from 10 different ports with the single IEC? See, that sourcing should not be that difficult. That's what my question is.
You are
My
asking
question,
about
sir,
it.
is
You are
related
asking
so
about
that the errors from my side also can come down.
You are asking about a drop-down menu being available for the shipping bills, right?
Correct, sir. Correct.
So that's a
Auto sourcing
suggestion. That's a suggestion you are giving. We will try to tackle this. Maybe after this, you can send me a summary of whatever requests were made by the exporters. Address it to me. I'll send it to my headquarters because they are the ones who created this setup. And in that sense, we will take it forward. That suggestion is understood. It may be a good idea as well.
So what you're suggesting is, sir, that you should want a drop-down list of shipping bills so that you can do match the column,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Correct.
But match the column will be done by you because
I'll tell you, most of the times, if I have to do that job, okay, and if I am doing it, and if I would like to have an error-free, invariably error hoga ही होगा. Problem is error आप बोलते हो 30 दिन का period है, उसके बाद में मालूम पड़ा तो?
okay.
As you give more, you demand more. That's how it is. I understand.
I get you.
I understand from the headquarters when we had done a webinar. Two things is what is in work in progress. One is a bulk upload option because right now every shipping bill is being to be generated, and second is an API development where you can integrate with system. Both of these are on a very advanced stage. Maybe very soon it will be available to exporters. So today what you are able to generate eBRC is on a shipping bill to shipping bill. Maybe you could do a bulk upload, and second is an API connect with your ERP. So hopefully that will happen, but Sunny bhai, we can route a suggestion through FEME for
So this bulk upload is for bigger exporters, as we understand.
Correct, sir.
But the system is geared towards the smaller exporters who have one shipping bill, two shipping bills on a daily basis, maybe, or 10 shipping bills.
Sir, yeah, 10 to 15 shipping bills daily in one month.
That's what I said. 10 to 15 shipping bills will not take you more than an hour's time. And that is understandable as far as compliance is concerned. This is what the thought process is. But the idea of a drop-down menu will definitely make the life of the exporter easier. And that idea is understood.
Yes, any other questions we have? Or we take the questions which are already sent to us. Sanjay bhai, you can take questions.
Sir, now this out of the topic question, just I wanted to ask, you discussed about export promotion councils.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there are many new export promotion councils has been come up, like Ayush Export Promotion Council is there. Then this didn't come up. I've known that Medical Devices Export Promotion Council is there. Merchant exporter, pharma merchant exporters are basically healthcare merchant exporters. I mean, healthcare product. They deal in all the healthcare products. Although 60 to 70% products are of pharmaceutical formulations or API. Rest 20 to 30% of the products they export. Maybe they export some of the Ayurvedic product. Maybe then they export some of the.
I understand your point. Yeah. So you want me to ask me which council to become member of? Is it?
Yeah. No. What happens?
I'm not an advocate of any council right now. But that is the question, is it?
No, my question is, what happens? We are majorly members with Pharmexil or FIO.
Yeah.
But many times custom offices ask us to be member of Shefexil also. They ask us now for Ayush Export Promotion Council also. And then our shipping, our shipment is being stopped for that reason. So can we have from the guideline where, if a merchant exporter is there and any one of this is possible?
Yeah. So therefore, in my speech, I had mentioned that you should know the law. The law is a constant, at least at one point of time. So the foreign trade policy defines the requirements of membership of RCMC, registration membership certificate. And that says clearly what you should do. So if you have one line of the main line of business, you should be member of that Export Promotion Council. If you are manufacturing textile, then Texprocell should be you should be member. If you are manufacturing engineering goods, then EPC is the council. If you have multiple lines of business, you can become member of FIEO. Okay, there is a law which is laid down there in the para 1.25 of the policy. Once you know that, you can answer to the questions of the customs officer, or you can write an email to DGFT, or join that video conference that I talked about, 10:30 to 11:30 every day, and we can sort out the issue. If what I was mentioning about the Export Promotion Council was that Export Promotion Councils have a mandate to increase the viability of exporters, and in that respect, they have 10 jobs to do. And it is for the members and the exporters to ensure that those benefits are flowing to them. If you do not know what is your expectation, you cannot really get something out of them. So then you are dependent on whether they are doing it or not doing it. So I was trying to indicate, becoming a member of the Export Promotion Council definitely gets you more knowledge about markets abroad. You can move around, you can be part of a delegation, you can go and see yourself, because exporters market is a market where a lot of visits are, advisable. This is how I see it. Although we are internet driven now, so a lot of information. Am I audible to you in the back? Okay. A lot of information is available online, but to have a one-to-one interaction with a buyer always gives the confidence to the buyer and the supplier at the same time that things will not go wrong in this. So, point of view, a physical visit as part of delegation, and I must add that the trade diplomacy by the Indian missions abroad has improved in a major way. Like the Indian embassies abroad, they have been given this clear direction and advice that we should look at trade as a major role of a diplomat. So you should take help of those missions also. You can write an email to them. You can seek whatever help you require from them about information. About trade disputes, there is a mechanism under the foreign trade policy, which I should have mentioned in my speech. In the foreign trade policy, there is a trade dispute resolution mechanism. I head that mechanism for the Western India in that particular sense in Mumbai, where I'm supposed to be heading that meeting. And the foreign buyer suppliers and Indian buyer suppliers, importer exporters, if the dispute is there, I need to reconcile and resolve that dispute or take action under the Foreign Trade Policy or FTDR Act. So about the EPC, there is a clear mandate. If you have multiple lines of business, you can become member of FIEO. But at the same time, if you want to have benefits, then a specific line of EPC will really give you more information, because they are only focusing on those goods. This is my answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Any other questions here?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So your BRC is coming in a different currency,
Yeah.
and your shipping bill is in a different currency.
Yeah.
So there is no problem of generating eBRC.
Okay.
Your eBRC will be generated in the currency of IRM. Again, what we were discussing is the same thing. The compliance of whether you have received equivalent euros where your shipping bill is in dollars, or you have received the equivalent dollars and your shipping bill is in, say, euros, is the work which will be done by your bank and EDPMS to ascertain whether you have completed the realization or you still have an outstanding. eBRC will be generated in the currency of IRM only. So your eBRC will get converted, issued as far as whatever you have received. So if you have received euros, you will get eBRC in euro.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
आप ही बोलिए।
मैम आप बताइए, आप पूछ लीजिए, Can give it to her. मैम पूछ लीजिए।
Anybody else who has a question? Sir.
Last corner.
Realizations coming after 1st February, you are supposed to generate it. Banks continue generating eBRCs. Banks are defaulting for what? No, they don't default, they delay. They are not defaulting, they delay.
There is a banking ombudsman. Ombudsman is there.
Sir has a
उसके ओम्बड्समैन के पास जाइए, वो आपकी प्रॉब्लम को दूर करेगा।
Sir, हमारी एक लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग डिमांड है, आपका ऑफिस एक एक्सपोर्टर का ओम्बड्समैन बन जाए सर, क्योंकि एक्सपोर्टर डीजीएफटी, डीसीजीआई, कस्टम,
वो डिमांड मैं तो फुलफिल नहीं कर सकता। You don't understand that.
नहीं, आप हमें रास्ता दिखाइए।
That is a demand to be raised at another forum.
Part of it is Niryat Bandhu.
Yeah, no, that is Niryat Bandhu is something where I go and do outreach. He is asking about
Yeah,
ombudsman.
but then sir, as a pharma merchant exporter,
It is not in my powers to create ombudsman, and that too myself, right?
no, I'm just requesting you, you show us the light, guidance, how we can go this and where to represent, so that as a FPME we can represent on this issue.
Nowhere to represent, so I don't have to do that.
Sir, banks generally, just whatever was happening earlier, it will generate eBRCs. If there is a exorbitant delay or something, I think you need to take it to the right authority upwards. If you have some old BRCs pending, push them hard, saying that this is the last bunch of eBRCs which you are generating. Now we are going to generate. So, that's the only option. But they will generate. They have no issues generating it because that is the only time they can now go to, probably even charge you for eBRCs. Then, I mean, once you start generating yourself, they cannot invoice you also. Yeah.
But still they are charging for lodgement. Huh?
That's the bank service, sir. We are talking about eBRCs. Somebody at the back had some question. Yes, ma'am, please.
सर जो ओफेक कंट्रीज होते हैं उसको मतलब बीआरसी कैसे शिपिंग बिल कैसे क्लोज कर सकते हैं सर अगर ओफेक कंट्रीज होंगी तो?
This OFAC EDPMS की बात कर रहे हैं. So
whether it's fully sanctioned or partial sanctioned.
So this I'll need to check and I'll have to come back to you because I will have to talk to RBI on this.
But BRC will be generated for that.
eBRC is not an issue for any.
So, ma'am, I think what is happening is I think we are trying to mix again OFAC, sanction country, payment coming in INR via Vostro account. The moment you get an IRM from the bank, okay, eBRCs will be able to generate. There is no problem. The problem is your bank is not giving you an IRM or not crediting because of the sanction. So the issue is a step before you generate eBRCs. OFAC or sanction country is a problem where you have exported to a country and then when you receive payment, the bank says, oh, I will not entertain this payment or I'll not give you a credit or I will not issue an IRM.
So IRM does not come, eBRC does not happen. If IRM is not being sent by the bank to the DGFT system, then eBRC cannot be generated. So that is an issue which has to be tackled with the AD Bank and the RBI. That is the immediate answer. And that therefore I wanted to talk to RBI what we should do in such situations. But are you facing this problem or it is a theoretical issue? So why don't you send those details to my office? My email ID is there in my card. It is DGFT-Mumbai.
We will share post meeting. We are sharing the
Mumbai-DGFT@nic.in. So that is an email ID on which my office functions. You can send an email.
CC to fpmeindia@gmail.com. We will give you a snapshot of all the meeting today, whatever we discussed, and we will give the guidelines.
So if you have specific issues about the OFAC countries, remittances having been received, but then you should not have entered into those transactions. That's what I am imagining. If there is a sanctioned country, then one has to be careful. Therefore, you should be aware of what the realities of the banking, international banking transaction and rules thereof, isn't it? Yeah, and it's a loud thinking only that if it is a sanctioned country, you have to think about the remittance mechanism beforehand. Then it has to be a third party supplier who supplies on their behalf. So I'm giving you suggestions without looking at your issues that a third party payment on behalf of the OFAC country person would be the normal answer to a transaction. If I was the exporter, I would have planned my transactions in that on those lines. But what you do is your business as it is.
So how about the third party transactions again on that eBRC module? If the payment is come from the third party, again the shipping bill gets mapped to it. That's not a problem, right?
Third party is basically where
no. Third party. Okay.
No. You are, so first question is, Are you getting payment from a third party?
Third party, yeah.
So when you get a payment from third party and it is not there on your invoice, the FEMA guidelines obviously ask you to mention it on the shipping bill, which you have complied. But because the payment is coming from ABC and company where your documents are showing XYZ, there's an option which says third party. So you mark that so that it gets recorded in the system that it is a third party. So the challenge is not in the eBRC. Challenge is this eBRC third party map will help you close your EDPMS properly. So if you see the module,
Third party transaction, you mention as third party.
you just mention it as third party.
And many times what happens, there are two parties.
It should not be between the two of you.
थर्ड पार्टी अगर ट्रांजैक्शन तीसरे पार्टी से पेमेंट आता है तो उसको कैसे क्लोज करना जाए, ये मैंने इनसे पूछा था। और एक क्वेश्चन ऐसा होता है कि बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि थर्ड पार्टी दो होती है, जैसे कि ओफेक कंट्रीज में बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि दो कंट्री से पेमेंट आता है, उनका दो पार्टी से पेमेंट आता है, तो उस बारे में कैसे हम लोग क्लोज करें?
सर आंसर सेम है। दो चीजें हैं। अगेन आई थिंक वी नीड टू बी डिस्टिंक्टिवली वेरी क्लियर। ईबीआरसी का प्रॉब्लम अलग है और ईडीपीएमएस कंप्लायंस अलग है। आपके जो भी ओफैक है थर्ड पार्टी, अगर आईआरएम जनरेटेड है, यू विल बी एबल टू क्रिएट ईबीआरसी, comply with the eBRC requirement. Now, whether your bank will close it in the EDPMS or because it is an OFAC country and the bank says, sorry, I will not touch the document, is a separate story under EDPMS. And as sir mentioned, we should take it up as FPME, give them his representation and see what can RBI take it further on a very specific cases of OFAC countries where we have a more business or our members have a more business.
But my advice is do a third party thing there in the OFAC countries also. My advice.
Mention of third party. Yeah. Obviously, because if you receive payment from neither the buyer or the consignee, then you will have to do it. There is obviously a eBRC compliance also to make sure that the payment.
Going forward, mention the third party on the shipping bill and make your compliance easy. That's my.
Sometimes you are not aware who the third party is going to be.
So that is what you have to negotiate and agree na, so that your compliance here is proper.
Many times shipping bill doesn't have the third party details.
But sir, that is again a compliance breach. Na? That
Okay.
is technically compliance.
You can put as many as detail you want to put.
No. But many times when shipment has been done, after.
That you can change.
Compliance requirement है.
बायर से पैसे बड़ी मुश्किल से तो आते हैं 90 दिन के बाद। अभी 90 दिन के बाद उसने किसी से पेमेंट कर दिया थर्ड पार्टी से। अभी हम अगर ये ना ले,
ये सिचुएशन केवल ओफैक कंट्री को
नहीं ओफैक नहीं, बहुत दूसरे कंट्रीज में भी होता है।
में भी आपकी जो रिक्वायरमेंट है लॉ की, वो तो आपको पहले से पता है ना, उसको पूरा करना
तो
चाहिए।
उसको फिर
मीटिंग के बाद आपको पता चल गया है कि हमें पता करना है, तो आप पहले पूछिए कि कैसे भेजोगे, कि अपने भेजोगे किसी दूसरे के थ्रू भेजोगे। आप थर्ड पार्टी लिख के अगर डायरेक्ट भी आ जाएगा तो चलेगा। थर्ड पार्टी लिख के अगर डायरेक्ट भी आ जाएगा तो चलेगा, बट अगर डायरेक्ट लिख के थर्ड पार्टी से आएगा तो नहीं चलेगा। So you should have the option when you are agreeing with a consignee, with a importer abroad, you should ask him, how will you pay me?
Sir, many times he is also not.
Look, I am giving you an answer which is a correct answer. What you do is your business environment. Right?
Contract, when you receive the payment, you have to try party. Under eBRC, we do not.
So what under eBRC? If your eBRC IRM is generated, you will be able to generate eBRC. There is no problem with eBRC. So you mark third party payment, you generate eBRCs, eBRC will be generated.
On one shipping bill, you can generate multiple eBRCs. Right?
Yeah, one shipping bill, you can generate multiple eBRCs. It is your, in fact, just to mention, if you have IRMs coming from two banks, so if you have payment in two banks, by default, you will have to generate two eBRCs because IRM from separate banks cannot be merged. Second, if you're receiving IRMs in two different currency, पहला payment dollar में आया, दूसरा payment euro में आ गया, then again two eBRC. So these are some technical challenges. In fact, this is another request to all of you. How many of you have not gone and looked at the eBRC module? Please go and look at it. Whatever I'm saying is exactly verbatim written on the website. It is not that I am telling you because I know something. It is written by DGFT on the website. This is what you can do. This you cannot do. This is how you will happen. So even if you read that much, I think 50% of your questions and queries will get resolved immediately.
But is it not the inward remittance is from two banks?
Yes.
Like just one bank to transfer the inward remittance to the main location. when the IRM is generated by the same bank.
I'm okay. If you receive from this, if you receive that IRM from the, so you receive 2 IRMs from the same bank, it's okay.
DGFT system works on the IRM received from the bank. It is the IRM which matters finally, and nothing else. So DGFT system, where this eBRC thing is now happening, is dependent on the IRMs received, which is mapped to the IEC, and that is how the system functions. So hamara starting point is IRM and nothing else. How your banks are treating the receipt of currency, that is between the banks and the RBI. For us, that is in the DGFT system, it is IRM, eBRC. That is the only thing. It is between you, eBRC, and the EDPMAS to close that transaction. So that is how the environment is. Finally, when one platform happens, then that one platform will take care of everything. Because it does not sound logical that we have received the remittance, eBRC bhi ho gaya, और फिर दूसरे system में जाके आप उसको close कर रहे हैं. So we are moving towards a better system of ease of doing. Okay, this is how it is. A lot of questions have been answered already. About
So that's why I was.
whatever
Yes,
is
sir,
there. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Any questions from here, because many of the questions are saying featuring.
These were expected questions which have been answered.
Yeah, yes, sir.
We have an IRM.
So I have an IRM, right? And I have made the shipment via postal services. So though the number generated on the document from the post, they don't get reflected on the DGFT website. So we cannot create an eBRC.
So that postal thing is still a work in progress right now. No, that thing, this is how I see it.
This is what will happen when we'll have drop-down list.
Yeah.
Today, you will be able to generate eBRC without any problem because system doesn't capture it from IceGate.
Okay.
So even when you have a postal bill of export,
he will be able to.
You will still be able to generate because that's exactly what it is. The shipping bill data is not auto-populated at this point.
So, अभी आप try किया है आपने?
Yes, I have.
कब try किया?
Maybe a week back or 2 weeks back, I have tried it.
Why don't you see it now? Do you have a laptop?
No, I don't have it.
So, but if you put in the information, what is happening? Is it giving you an error?
It shows that the shipping bill number is
shipping bill
incorrect.
number is not there in the customs thing.
वो meta tag है सर मैं उसमें ABCD लिखूंगा तो
नहीं, I don't think so. There must be some validation.
नहीं होता सर
Huh?
नहीं होता
He has failed, na? Why don't
The shipping bill
you sit
also-
on this laptop after the meeting and
The shipping
try
bill
once more?
that gets generated, that is a 7-digit shipping bill number. And the one that we get from the post is 6-digit.
Correct.
So that's maybe the
that's what I
error.
said.
You add a zero at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's a digit issue, which is okay. So maybe what you need to do is raise a ticket to DGFT portal. I think they will do it. What is understood is at this point of time, the shipping bill number,
Is not
the
being
date, the information AD code, and the information is to be put by you. It is not coming system driven. Okay.
Except the ARM.
So
IRM.
since it is not coming through system driven, whatever you will feed it, it will capture it. There could be a technical error because what is being coded is number of digits.
Right.
Okay. So number of digits, which means there is, let's say a shipping bill has to have a 7-digit and you are having a 6-digit. Hence it is telling you have not mentioned the correct shipping bill number. Right.
So अभी try करिएगा.
या तो आप 0 add करिए या तो best option would be give this detail to the DGFT help desk. They will refer back to you online telling you what you need to do. But the data at this point of time, you'll be able to generate eBRC with postal export. When it happens automated as what he suggested, then we'll have to wait for postal export data to be coming in from the IceGate. But
Thank you.
This is a digit issue which I think should be resolvable.
Sir, this question is from the media. It's a very generic question.
Sir,
media है आपके लिए.
Yeah.
Regarding the means
मीडिया
how
से बात करने का अधिकार नहीं है अभी हमारे.
it's a generic question in the sense that since it's how far will it streamline the e-governance mechanism, the ecosystem which has been created?
This you have to ask the exporters. They are the ones who are reaping the fruits or otherwise of the improvement in e-governance. As far as DGFT is concerned, we are totally committed to an online environment and whatever authorizations, EPCG, advanced authorization, or any MEIS, whatever we are issuing, that is going seamlessly to customs. All your applications of the exporters are to be filed online with very less fee here and there, and the services are totally free to that extent. So e-governance is epitomized by the work of DGFT, and we are committed to increase it further. This eBRC is another initiative which has been taken. Exporters were not aware we are doing it, but it has been done, and it is going to help you only if you master the game. And that cost to the bank, and the time to the bank, and the documentation which was required, physical copies, paper, and all that, all those hassles are being removed, and your compliances are faster now. Your EDPMS closure will be faster. So you can see how the system is functioning, and each department is trying to do its own initiative about improvement of the environment. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to add into it. We need to appreciate the DGFT efforts. Earlier, we used to apply for Star Export House. Now it's online. It's all data driven. Exporters, when they reach the milestone, they automatically get the Star Export Out certificate. So that's the way DGFT has updated themselves in e-governance. So I would like to add on that what sir said that.
Yeah, I want to see NOC yesterday at DCGI.
CDS.
So yesterday we were, because NOCs are also required as a part of one of the export requirements in some cases. So there was a lot of confusion. We have resolved that, where it is applicable. And we had also visited CDSCO yesterday, the Deputy Drug Controller, at their office on some matter. And they actually showed, how the portal is working and how within 48 to 72 hours, they are clearing all the NOC applications. And so many other, there are hundreds of different applications with DCGI handles. But they, like the e-governance part, that how all the different ministries and departments are helping various nodes. Now, we don't have one single platform yet, but I said majority platforms in one are being now handled. Yeah. So I think we are moving that way in very seamless. In last 5 years, I'm seeing a lot of progress.
If e-Sanchit model is implemented fully, then we will see a seamless paperless work. I hope we move toward e-Sanchit model, because right now exporters have a lot of same documents, bunch of documents with every shipment they have to submit. But once the e-Sanchit model of Government of India that completely and everyone works on e-Sanchit model, then I think for exporters it will be a beneficiary for them.
More educational programs will be happening to further this.
Actually,
educational programs for.
We are. I'm here on a holiday today.
See that you should highlight this. Appreciate this.
Pan India, more other cities also.
DGFT office is always open. I mean, you can see that they have 1 hour daily video conferences. So media can also join in that video conference for further questions.
Sir, one last question.
अब तो खत्म हो रहा है ना?
नहीं अभी चार्ज करते हैं, लॉन्चमेंट के साथ eBRC चार्जेस देते हैं।
उसके लिए अब आरबीआई से अलग से टेकअप करिए। अब तो
सर हमको एक रिक्वेस्ट है सर, आरबीआई हमको जल्दी रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करती है। एक जो हम लोगों के जो डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट सबको एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप DGFT लेके आए हैं ना सर?
नॉट इन माय हैंड,
नॉट फॉर एज एन ओम्बुड्समैन, एक कॉन्फ्रेंस जैसा कि बाबा एक मैकेनिज्म कैसा हो जहाँ पे आरबीआई भी आए, क्योंकि आरबीआई और इंडियन बैंकिंग एसोसिएशन ये जो है ये हमारे एसोसिएशन को जल्दी रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करते हैं। इसलिए थोड़ा एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि एक
नंबर मिस्टर शाह,
अगर आरबीआई आता है तो हम लोग कुछ उनको रिप्रेजेंटेशन दे सकते हैं।
So one question.
But RBI says that last time when we went to this with Shri Piyush Goyal sir, उन्होंने बोला कि this comes under the purview of Indian Banking Association. Banking charges related जो है वो पूरा Indian Banking Association set करती है।
That is right.
Yeah.
उनको represent करिए as an exporter. You are a very important voice in the country.
This is what is happening. I think at least if not, we can put a representation. To just to inform.
Yes, definitely.
The intention, one of the intention was to remove this cost.
Yes. So, there's no doubt about it.
So one question, we are applying a free cell certificate through DGFT website. After applying 20-25 days, there is no response. Then response comes and
you give me 6-7 such instances. I am duty bound to respond to it.
Yeah. Because after that, then query comes and then we apply for the query.
How many instances you're talking about?
It happens many times because my person does
Send
it.
me an email tomorrow.
Yeah.
And tell me the instances how it has happened.
Yeah.
Because my office is issuing it and they are issuing it online.
Yes,
and
yes.
I am given a daily report that we are issuing it every day.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
So there must be some issue. In
No,
some
but then
cases,
query has to
in
come. No,
some
the query is
cases-
not coming. Query
in
itself
some
is taking
cases-
20-25
In
days.
some cases, you have to submit a contract.
Yeah,
Especially we are
So,
contract manufacturing.
So regarding this query only, it takes 20-25 days.
So you should know what you have to submit. If you have submitted things, understand the shipment has gone already. It is by air normally, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're talking about by air.
No, but this free sale is for registration. We need this certificate so that our product gets registered.
I understand that, but
yeah,
the endeavor is that the direction is that it should be issued within 24 hours. When this person has applied, then this contract or whatever is there, that is on record. So if there is a delay, bring out those instances. I will look into it and improve the situation.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can refer to the meeting today.
Yes.
Yes, please, sir. I need one suggestion. We are supplying from the next to buy country, and we are not doing it country. So how does this transaction take place, and how it is advisable to receive the commission from this transaction?
You are merchant.
entity.
So आप बता दीजिए if you want.
सर बताइए सर.
In this, neither customs nor GST comes into play, but for the RBI guidelines as well as the company law, you need to show it as a sale and a purchase. And there, whatever money goes out or money comes in, that will have to follow the RBI guidelines. There is a 2020 circular which talks about it, that the money has to come within the period of 9 months. And you have to mention clearly that this is a merchant trading transaction. So I don't see a problem there. If you have supplied, if you have bought for $100 and sold for $110, then $100 will be sent and $110 will be received. And the $10 will be a commission. So is there a problem in remittance receipt or remittance sending? If you comply with that 2020 circular, I can give you the circular number also. Let me look for it.
Okay, and given this commission gap, do you
No, sir. No, sir. First of all, please understand it is not a commission. It is your understanding is a commission. It is
shipping bill नहीं है, इसमें eBRC का angle नहीं आएगा आपके लिए.
See, this is sale and purchase. Okay, don't term it as commission.
P10, P107, P103, 102 ये जो इसमें आप इनवर्ड रेमिटेंस सेटल करते हो, ठीक है, उसमें आपको सिर्फ ये करना है. That is eBRC related. You are confused. You want to talk about MTT and the commission received. Commission received is the other purpose.
No.
Yeah, he is confused. He wanted to. So his profit margin, if you are talking, that's different. But if you are receiving any commission, that doesn't require eBRC module. eBRC comes only if the custom shipping bill is generated.
I see.
Very important.
MTT is a very legit transaction. You can buy from a country X, sell to country Y. There's a clear-cut master direction C14 of master directions on import of goods. Though it is not import, but it comes under import of goods C14. Okay. So you refer to that as right away. Your total timeline is 9 months. And your outward payment should not be increasing more than 4 months, which means अगर आपने 100 रुपए दिए हैं purchase के लिए, तो at least that 100 should come within 4 months. There cannot be a gap of 4 months beyond. Total timeline is 9 months. आप $100 में buy करो, $110 में बेचो, no problem. Please understand, $10 is not your commission. That's your net effect which you're looking at. You have sold it at 110. You have bought at 100. It is a legit transaction. No export incentive because there is no incentives here. No export. It is an MTT. You are legally allowed to do it. There is no GST. Yes, sir.
So RBI Circular 20 of 23rd January 2020. You just note down and have a look at that. It explains everything clearly about what your obligations are for complying with the FEMA guidelines. RBI Circular number 20 of 23rd January 2020. You just comply with this. This is neither a supply, nor import, nor export. This is merchanting trade, which has been promoted by the government, and this circular of RBI tackles the situation from foreign exchange point of view. I think we are done with the question.
Is there any mechanism where we can track IGST refund and duty drawback amount on IceGate portal? Because sometimes it shows like duty drawback amount is not reflected on portal, and sometimes it's like IGST amount is not reflected. We have to keep on checking the site again and again.
कुछ पाने के लिए कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा ना, आप चेक तो कर ही सकती
So
हैं।
there is no mechanism
वो
where we
जब
can
स्क्रॉल
track it.
जनरेट होता है ना तो अपने आप आता है फिर वो, you know, it is not a one-to-one transaction. It is a scroll which is, you are aware, I'm sure.
Yes.
कस्टम में
yes.
सुना होगा अपने स्क्रॉल जनरेट हो रहा है नवा सेवा में।
Yes.
So जब स्क्रॉल जनरेट होता है तो जितने लोग उसमें कवर होते हैं उन सबको मिल जाता है।
Okay.
So you will have to wait for it to be generated.
Yeah,
it is not
we
a,
have to keep on
it is not a
tracking.
every day that the scroll is generated. It is generated every fortnight in some formations where the transactions are low or less in number. It is generated weekly also. So it depends on when that scroll is generated. Scroll means the list of names which go to the bank for payment to the bank accounts.
Okay.
So you'll have to wait for it for some time. Keep seeing. You have to be expecting some money, right?
Okay, thank you.
The IceGate issue है तो सर के साथ डिस्कस करना।
नहीं, I've answered them because this is a normal answer.
Yes, sir. Please. Sir, can you please guide like what is the procedure to remove the shipping bill from which is cancelled from eDPMS? Like suppose the Leo copy was generated, but the shipment was done back to town. So and then the shipment was done under new shipping bill. So that earlier shipping bill, it is still showing in eDPMS, and the bank is not ready to do anything. Like they are now pressuring us to clear this shipping bill, and when we go to customs, they say that is not our job.
जब ये बैक टू टाउन हुआ था तो कोई डॉक्यूमेंट मिला था आपको?
हाँ, बैक टू टाउन कॉपी भी है।
क्या मिला था?
बैक टू टाउन कॉपी है।
तो बैक टू टाउन कॉपी आप सबमिट करिए बैंक को, दे हैव टू एक्सेप्ट इट।
हाँ, तो वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहे, वो बोल रहे कि आप वहाँ कस्टम में जाके इसको क्लोज करवाइए या इसको ईडीपीएमएस में से निकलवाइए। बट
कस्टम वाला कैसे ईडीपीएमएस से निकालेगा?
वही सर, मतलब
नहीं तो बैंक से टेकअप करना पड़ेगा। No, I understand that, but he has a document now.
No, but that custom shipping bill says active. Unless and until that active remark
is removed
from the custom and that data goes.
Okay, fair point. Fair point. Send a letter to my office. I'll take it up with the Custom Chief Commissioner in Nava Sheva. आपका नवा शेवा से email issue होगा ना? I was a commissioner there, so I can appreciate what you are saying. Okay.
Yes.
Please send a letter to my office.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's a simple thing. When you have back to town, you remove it from active. Say that cancelled.
Okay, यहाँ पे जाना चाहिए and
उसमें cancel लिख देना चाहिए.
हाँ, वो shipping bill निकल जाएगा, बैंक नहीं मांगेगी.
I understood.
The customs saying that it cannot be cancelled because वो अभी हिस्ट्री में चला गया. तो बोले अभी कुछ नहीं. ठीक है.
तो जहाँ से भी होगा IceGate वाला बैकएंड से करेगा, जैसे भी करेगा करना तो पड़ेगा. It can't be said कि हिस्ट्री में चला गया है. I think yes.
Rectification in shipping bill is done on the
Yeah.
Send sir an email now with all the details specifically. I think
if any other question is there, please email it. We will be sharing you today's, the gist of the things discussed today online, and we will sharing to everyone on WhatsApp as well as email. Request all members to check regularly emails, because many times we send emails, but most of the emails go unread. We have given the renewal forms to every members, but they are not filled. Why we have asked for to submit the renewal form again? Because many of the email addresses are not updated. Many people want different email addresses also. So please, a sincere appeal to all members to submit their renewal form along with renewal fees. Paying renewal fees doesn't makes you renewed. We want your forms to be submitted with all the updated details of email address, so that all email we can send. All this today's minutes meeting, or you can say a gist of the points discussed, training, and whatever question answer session we have discussed, we have noted it and we will send you a detailed email on it. Any other questions, you can always be there with the sir's email ID. Sir has already shared, we will share the email ID with them. Mihir bhai is always there for us. With this, I would like to invite Dharmesh Bhai for 5-10 minutes. Dharmesh Bhai is a FPME Joint Secretary. He will discuss about, plant inspection module, how to get the plant certified and inspected for 5-10 minutes.
5-10.
Yeah, I just got 3 slides, and rest will be put on the group. Essentially now, as you see, there is a target also on pharma industry to increase exports. Right now, pharma industry is $50 billion. Out of that, half, that is 25 is exports and 25 is domestic. And now that has to be growing more and has to grow more than the domestic industry, and there's a kind of competition happening. So here, all of us are mostly exporting, but we might be doing some domestic also. But still, pharma industry mostly is a product oriented. We are not like IT software where we are coding something and then we are sending. So mostly there are some services which are there, but for products we have to do manufacturing in plant, and then we are exporting that by various methods or routes. Now what happens is that some of these products are made on any purchase order or batch quantity as a custom, based on your brand name or your customer's brand name and everything. And some of it is manufactured and we are buying from wholesalers or super stockists and something. And that is the way we are exporting this. Now, all said and done, what is happening is right now, there is another angle which is happening on the quality GMP aspects there. The CDSCO department headed by the Drug Controller General has begun inspections of all these factories. And there might be various challenges in supply which will come. Like right now, there is an announcement by the drug controller that around 40% units in north of India, they will not comply. Now, this is a statement which is very serious, and you might see some supply challenges if you are getting your products made at some particular factory. And based on that, we are trying to see how our FPME members can be aware of where they are sourcing, in case they don't have quality GMP and all these kind of resources or staff, and who to go to. So FPME is proposing a certain scheme, like, sir was talking about a scheme. Scheme is a particular process of doing certain thing. And I'll just give 3 slides, and I will not share all the other slides today, but you can read that when we share it in the group members group. So just the presentation. Okay. So this is for essentially assuring quality in pharma product and plant, because we need assurance of the plant also and the product also. And in that, various processes are there to ensure this is there in compliance, so that our manufacturing supplier is not into any problem, and our customers are also having some kind of assurance that this has been looked at and we are not blindly buying things. Even though they have all government certifications like their FDA license, product permission, COPP, etc., lapses can happen at a product level even if the plant is certified. So just same what I was saying while this was set up, that increasing regulations are coming, and many manufacturers don't intend or unable to meet new standards. Example, new Schedule M. So many plants are not upgrading because of new requirements of water system, air system, equipment, quality system, and then global GMP also. Our customers are also demanding wherever they may be, in Africa or Asia or Latin America or wherever, they're asking, all the certificates, etc. So this is one background. Then most ME don't have in-house quality GMP, what we said, even though the plant has been inspected. So sometimes we need to put additional oversight. And then there are GMP audit consultants, which we can hire, but the corporate ones are very expensive and they don't have too much time for taking this job up. They're concentrating on higher level customers. And then individual consultants are not very consistent in how they actually inspect various things. So what is the framework for assuring quality for merchant exporters in pharma? Where in various areas of economy, see, export is happening in agriculture, food and other things, And then there are technical regulations which are laid down by the government, our government as well as the buyer's government. And we have to see how we can manage both of those things. So we want a framework that we can have this assurance of both these two things. And that's where we have this 8-step process where we develop a scheme which is hosted by FPME members, wherein we set up the scheme owner, which is FPME, and then we set up a budget for it. We have a panel, which will be an external panel, experts consisting of regulatory, technical, quality, and all the product related requirements, as well as plant GMP and assurances. And then they will scope out based on members' feedback that I am facing maximum challenge from a plant or product certification point of view. Because the plant may be very good, but sometimes the product is not having proper stability, the analysis is not happening, or the data, something is a problem. So they will do both or either or, depending on what the member wants to be done. And those standards will be set up, and the accreditation of the auditor will happen. So some auditors are expert in both plant and product. Some will be either on a plant or a particular system. So that way the accreditation certificate will be granted by our scheme. And then the inspections will be done based on what the client wants. And then certification will be granted to particular plant or product, whichever the member has purchased the certificate. And this can also be done by a non-member. Maybe he is your customer over there and he asks you that, I'm buying something, can you help me out? Or we can refer that. And he has to pay the fees, and the inspection can happen on that behalf. So then this is all too much of the process and all, which I'll share. I don't want to do this. But typically, if we get all members' support and we set up this, it can be achieved within 6 months to set up the panel, set up the processes, have the empanelment, and expert auditors. They might be working as independent, or they might be retired people. They will join all of us as their consultants of our panel. They'll be certified by the panel that we have, and then they'll be open to various opportunities for audit, etc., whenever the members want to avail of that. So initial investment and all, etc., is given, which is for the setting the panel and maintaining the scheme. And after some time, when we generate revenue, the scheme will be self-sustaining. There are many such schemes which are there. So there is a link given over here where there are hundreds of schemes which various industry bodies have put, that this standardsmap.org. So, maybe I'll have to. So this will not show here, it is just showing here. But you can click the link and see that various industries are set up, like even electrical industry, or like FSSAI is one scheme. Same way there is a yoga scheme. Same way there might be, there are 100 building material schemes. So how to certify all these things? Everybody, if it's not part of the government scheme, many private organizations have started this scheme so that their members can benefit. And for pharma, to best of my knowledge, there is no such proper scheme which is existing for merchant exporters who can get everything audited and validated. And that is the current 5-10 minutes I just shared. And we can have next discussion once members are further interested. For any questions they can raise. Thank you so much.
Any questions for Dharmesh bhai?
Well said, Dharmesh.
See, today we have some time constraint. Next event of FPME will be in September, post Ganpati, where we will be having a half-day training session on GST affairs. We'll be having the GST special. Many of the GST compliances now have come up after the implementation of 6 to 7 years of GST. Now people are needing the most GST related notices and how to handle that. So we will be having a half-day seminar for that. And during that, Dharmesh bhai, this scheme we can discuss, so that, the vision of Dharmesh bhai, or say FPME managing committee of board members, is to have an FPME certified manufacturing plant along with WHO GMP. If it is a FPME certified manufacturing plant, any FPME member can assured about the quality of that manufacture of the product you get from that manufacturing plant. So this is the vision Dharmesh bhai was talking about. So this, we can take this forward and we can evolve one such scheme of plant inspection. Yeah, please. Yeah.
If government allow you more association for certification,
then IDMA will come out, and then hope will come out, then IDMA will come out.
So it is not an, it will be not a government related thing. It is an internal thing for our association members. If IDMA has this, we can jointly work together. FOPE or IDMA can work together. See, we are open to work. We have already proposed with IDMA that we have to meet regularly, and we have to take how IDMA and FPME can work together to increase in Indian exports. What we have proposed with IDMA, that right now what has happened, that there are a lot of small countries whose consumption is very less, right? They require the small quantity, but then in India, we don't have BP, USP. Indian market, if you have to be in Indian market, it should be Indian pharmacopoeia, right? So merchant exporter buys local Indian pharmacopoeia stocks and then they sells it. But the larger perspective is that we have Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission also, IPC, and we are promoting that all countries should accept Indian pharmacopoeia stocks. Many of the countries are not accepting, and all these sales are going to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. And Vietnam is now coming up with their own, so they don't have their own pharmacopoeia. So they are able to sell there. So our main endeavor is to get Indian pharmacopoeia recognized, as well as for members, because quality is very precious. We are dealing with the life of the person. We should be sure about whatever we are exporting, it should be of utmost quality. So for that, as an additional precaution to educate our member to get that, because right now there are many plants coming up, new plants coming up, and we are not sure about the quality. So if FPME inspects it and give it certified, so our member are relied on that this is the genuine plant, you can rely on them. It is a private accreditation, not an government certified. Yeah. And if government joins us, we will be happy for that. But
Audited by experts.
Experts.
They are respective. And they will independently. We are not audited.
yeah, first of this kind initiative taken in this pharma industry from the private organizations. Yeah. To strengthen the quality. Yeah. Yeah. Confidence building, as well as, the recent some incidents has raised some challenges for Indian exports. So to address this, FPME as Suomotole and Dharmesh Bhai has taken is that as a vision and mission for them, that it should be, every member should take up this as an, right for getting that inspected and get the all products supplied is a quality product. So to generate the procedure and SOPs, it will take a 6 months time to complete this, all this thing, and to implement.
It will supplement the risk-based assessment of the CDSO.
CDSO is the different body, and they have, it doesn't mean that if it is FPME certified, CDSO will not go, right? CDSO is a different body, it's a government statutory body. This is an Suomoto thing which we are doing for our members if they feel for them. It doesn't guarantee that if FPME is certified, CDSO will not visit. CDSO will do their own job. Yeah, this is an additional thing which we are looking, which will help Indian exports to grow. Yeah, confidence building. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So it is, you can say that trade and industry coming together, trade facilitating the industry to reach maximum countries. I would like Abhay Bhai to have a vote of thanks for this program. You can come.
Mihir Bhai has always been very accommodative. The way he explained eBRC, though I've done it, but he made it so simple. I'm sure there was no need to take notes. He's done a wonderful job. More importantly, Mihir Bhai is always available whenever I have called him, or you all can call him whenever. He, sorry.
No.
But he is always very helpful on the phone. He guides you, so you can take that advantage. About Mr. Mishra, if you permit, sir, your looks are misleading. You look a very stern person, but no, you are not, sir. You are a very jovial person. So I was just wondering whether your introduction should have that one comment also. Very jovial person. And I don't know how God has mixed so many things in one brain. Electrical engineering, GST, customs,
railways,
and the way you talk, you don't stop to think. I mean, God has been kind to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
And thank you to all the FAME admin and managing committee members to to make this event possible. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all participants for making on time, and we are completing this event on time. Thank you very much. सर चाय तीसरी बार आई ठंडी हो गई. If any GST related queries are there offline, you can discuss with Mr. Kanoja. He is available here. Okay. Yeah.
He got scared when he looked at me. I may not be that bad.